Hey, what's up? It's K West here with
Foomy?
So Foomy. When did you start playing fighting game?
Oh, geez. Seems like a lifetime ago, honestly. I'd say probably 97, 98.
Ooh, it's old man games.
Old man games. I think the first fighting game that I ever played in the arcades, probably like Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh, Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah, or even actually World Warrior might be my first. Street Fighter 2 World Warrior back in Jersey.
Is that where you're originally from? From Jersey?
That's right. Yeah, New Jersey. I'm originally a Yankee, so
Uh-oh.
yeah. So, and here I am now, and so trying to just be an imposter.
So on top of that, you've been kind of a demon here for a lot of these Sova people. What do you do differently that you feel like they maybe can bring to their game?
Practice. A lot of the guys around here just don't seem to put in a lot of work. They just don't really. Just like their effort just isn't where it needs to be to beat solid players or good players. Like they kind of do what they need to do to get by to beat each other, but they don't push themselves to actually get really good at the game. So it's the kind of good and bad part about the competition. It's like they feel like they're doing well because they're beating their main competition, but they're not beating their best competition.
But on the flip side, it does bring some great drama moments here in Sova.
Yes.
So with SF5 on the horizon, PR Balrog said that the game is almost too footsies based, and he said it's almost too hard to be top tier in footsies. Like if you're starting out brand new, you almost will never ever beat someone that's better than you. There's almost no comeback mechanics in SF5. Do you think this is a good direction that Capcom's going?
It's hard to really say. I mean, the game, in my opinion, needs to have some excitement to it. So from what I can see, I mean, I haven't really played the game extensively. I've only played it like once or twice. There needs to be some kind of excitement in the game to keep players coming back. You know, there needs to be some kind of crazy comeback factor, something in a match that turns the tide where people can get excited about. And I mean, what he said does have some credence to it. I mean, everything that makes a top player good in 4 is just going to be even more embellished in 5. Well, at least like the footsie-based players, like Justin and Fudo, those guys are going to destroy it. But I think it's, as far as the strategy, I think that's a good thing.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing because it seems like the Rushdown, Okazeme sort of Vortex characters, there's not really much going on up here for those people that play like that. You know, they just kind of go through the motions and say, okay, this happened, I need to do this, and they can do it every time and not put any thought behind it, or very minimal thought. But now it's like you can't really abuse stuff like that. Or maybe you can, but only with like certain characters and very minimally. So like the ground game is going to be super, super intense now.
So if you could go back to any fighting game, which one would you go back to just play for the rest of your life if you're on a desert island by yourself?
Oh, free? Alpha 2.
Alpha 2?
Easy.
Is not even Marvel 2?
Very easy question, yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I like Marvel 2 a lot. I mean, I had my most success with Marvel 2. But Alpha 2 is so fun. It's just too fun of a game. It's like when we go to majors and they got the arcade setups, it's the one place I'll be the whole time.
So the most recent major we went to, you may have beaten an old man Legends and kicked him off the cab, Mr. Alex Valle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really, it's not that impactful to me. Everyone beats everybody. When you're at a high level, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, you take risks, the other player takes a risk. I mean, sometimes they pay off for your opponent, whatever. So it's like anybody can beat anybody. Totally different story in the tournament. It doesn't mean anything. It's just casuals, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Outside of fighting games, what's probably your favorite esport to watch? Like if you're on Twitch and it's a normal weekend outside of fighting games.
I'm pretty much a Twitch monster. I'll watch anything that has a lot of viewers. Maybe not so much League of Legends, but I like watching Counter-Strike because I have a Counter-Strike background, so I like watching CSGO a lot. Dota 2, love Dota 2, Hearthstone. But honestly, if it's got a lot of viewers, I'm on there. Like I just want to see what the hype's all about.
So you putting the Kappas in the chat? Is that you?
No, so I'm like not a chat monster at all. Like I don't chat at all. I don't even know how to put like the Kappas in there. I'll be like /Kappa Pride. I'm just like, did it work? I don't even know.
So you're not the guy when Bob Ross was streaming that was like, ruined!
No, back. What a cheater. That was so good.
Where do you see the future of esports in about 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years? That's a long time. It's crazy to me to think that in the last couple of years, it's really just blossomed like so like unproportionally like huge. I would have never thought that it would have gotten this big. So I started playing Counter-Strike with a team recently, just like playing like an amateur division, and we're pretty good. Like we're in the top 16 of like CEVO amateur, and we're still in playoffs, so we could still win it all. But it's been eye-opening to me to see, the younger generation and how much and how devoted they are to the scene, and how it's like integrated into like their social lives. Like Twitch is like a social thing now. It's like people will go to these streamers, like in either they're smaller streamers or medium streamers or bigger streamers, and there's like little communities within each stream chat and within each like moderator group or whatever. It's crazy, and they're actually making money off of this. Like even people that are not at the top are making like not necessarily like enough to make a living, but they're making good money off of the streaming, eSports betting, which is crazy. And then obviously tournaments and competition and stuff. It's just wild. I would have never thought it would got this big.
Most traditional sports have a season because they have to be able to recover and they have to be able to train up physically to be able to make it, to be able to actually perform at that high of a level. Sure. Do you think esports should have seasons, or do you think it should still be kind of almost year-round how it is now?
That's a really interesting question. I've never really even thought of that, but it seems like there's a lot of, with professional, physical sports, I guess, traditional sports, it's almost like they cover each other during the off season. Like football is like fall and winter, and basketball is more like spring, summer, and baseball is almost like entirely almost year round. It's like 9 months out of the year or something like that. But it seems like they all covered each other. So like when one wasn't huge or active, another one was active. So there's always something to watch. I think that esports could probably learn a little bit about that, but. Honestly, maybe not, because like there's so much viewership. Like seems like everyone's viewing everything all the time. It's like it's like almost like spectators are just they always want something. Like every weekend, I always complain with like FGC, like, oh, there's so many tournaments, or whatever. Like every weekend, it's hard as a competitor to get out, but the spectators, that's what they want. They want something to watch every weekend. They want to like wake up on a Saturday morning when they don't have class or school or whatever and just like, what am I going to watch today? And if there's nothing to fill that void, it's like I could see it maybe slipping. But, there's always a Counter-Strike tournament, a league tournament, a huge Dota match or whatever. The appetite has to be satiated. There's got to be something. But I don't know. There's definitely some room for discussion there, I think.
But I think the other big difference is between sports, like professional sports and esports, is that the spectator can kind of join in and see how they do against high-level competition. Like, for example, I can't go out and be like, yo, Peyton Manning, I got my team, you got your team, let's go play.
Yeah,
but like
true.
in, like, for example, fighting game competitions, I played against some of the top players. I'm not even that good. So
yeah, the ease of use when it comes to like esports and just video games in general, I mean, they're basically constructed to be easy to go and play against people who are either your level, super good, lesser, whatever, to get the practice that you really need. And I mean, this whole system, this whole environment has been constructed to make it, so anybody can get into it really easily and continue to excel. And that's what I think what's really cool about it, is that anybody can jump in and get really good really quickly if they wanted to be dedicated. Anybody can. Especially if you have like a mentor that's like teaching you like and can almost like shortcut you to where you need to be really quickly. And I don't think you can achieve that in professional sports. So it's like the barrier to get into like an esport is much smaller than getting into like a professional sport. But anybody can be cut out for esports with enough training.
And what's cool about that also is they don't have to be the best of the best to make a lot of money. Because you were saying before, where you're like, oh, now you can be, if you're entertaining on Twitch, then people can just tune in almost like a TV, where they can be like, oh, I really love like cross counter with Mike Ross and Gutex and things like that, where they could just be watching TV pretty much and just watching people play. And if they're entertaining, you don't have to be the best at it anymore.
Yeah, it's something that actually almost is troubling to me in a way. It's a little disturbing to me how some people who are entertaining at streaming but not really good at the game can be so successful. On one hand, I like it that it's good to see that they're bringing more people into it and they're creating like these big audiences, and it's better for the game in general and better for the scene, but it's almost creating a bad environment for the competitive environment, because some people who might be looking to get into the competitive environment might be turned away from that and just like, well, stop training, just stream and be entertaining. Just find ways to bring in your audience, because really that the reward is bigger, and I guess that's something that I struggle with personally, and I guess obviously some other competitors struggle with, is that you need to make the decision, where do you feel most rewarded? Do you feel more rewarded monetarily by streaming and retaining these viewers and just doing your thing, or do you feel rewarded from actually being successful in the game and winning? And I think that's a fine line that a lot of the people at the top who stream and play competitively always have to deal with, because streaming might not be the best way to train. Being entertaining, you might want to actually grind or practice real hard, and that might be boring for someone to watch, but it's going to pay dividends in competition. So it's always a fine balance, and I don't know. I like winning more than I like money.
All right, thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming out. Do you have any final words or any final comments?
Shout outs to Wave eSports. Shout outs to all my fans.
Oh yeah, all the Foomy fans.
All the Foomy fans out there. And that's it.
Thank you very much. So what's your favorite fighting game moment that's ever happened to you?
My favorite fighting game moment? I would say probably way back in the day in I think it was 99 probably, when Marvel 2 was super hype. And I played against Justin Wong in the tournament finals at Game Time in Northern Virginia. It was in Alexandria. This was back when Justin Wong had never lost it before in a tournament. Like, he had never even been put into a loser's bracket.
So this is the original Justin Wong, the god that everyone was talking about.
The original god. Like, he had not lost before at all. And I was playing him in the winners finals of the tournament at Game Time, and I was up on him 2-0. And I thought I had it, and he just turned on the Wang Factor. That might have been the birth of the Wang Factor, because he came back and beat me 3 straight and like just went lights out, crushed my soul.
What team did you play?
I started off with Storm, Cable, Commando, I believe.
Oh, so you still play top tier. All right. So it wasn't too far back in the day with the Cammy was top tier and any of that?
Yeah, well, he played Cammy. He was playing Cammy. That was difficult. Like, that's the team that he actually went to beat me with. Well, no, I take that back. So he started with Cammy, with his Storm Sun Cammy team, and that's what I beat. And then he went to Magneto.
He wasn't playing around?
Yeah, he went to Magneto. So, like, Magneto was, like, his main team at the time, and he was actually just starting to play Cammy, I think, like his Storm Sun Cammy. So he hadn't really, like, super polished it yet. But he was famous for his Magneto at that time, and he went to Magneto and just beat me.